Hi! In this lecture I'll be adding extra important chords that were used in the development of the classical era of the Western music. As I explained in the previous lecture, our chord construction method involves stacking major and/or minor thirds, resulting in common triads like major, minor, diminished, and augmented. Years ago, composers expanded this idea to create 4-note stacks. Since the interval from the root to the 4th note forms a 7th, these 4-note chords are called 7th chords. And they're made the same way a triad is made, but with stacking 4 pitches instead of 3. And the added 4th pitch can be added in any way above the 4 types of triads we know. And that gives us those 12 combinations. It helps composers write more unique sounding music, and it's used in many different genres. But not all of them are frequently used due to their lack of harmonical usefulness. The 4 most important ones you may encounter are the dominant 7th chord, minor 7th chord, half diminished chord, and the fully diminished chord. I'll get to the other types of chords in a later lecture. The dominant 7th chord is only used on the dominant degree, hence the name, and the sequence is major third, minor third, and another minor third. The sequence of the minor 7th chord is minor third, major third, and a minor third. The sequence of the half diminished chord is a minor third, and another minor third. 3 minor thirds. The sequence of the fully diminished chord is a minor third, and a diminished minor third. As was done with triads, 7th chords can be constructed on each pitch of the major and harmonic minor scales. However, in common practice usage, the only 7th chords regularly encountered are those constructed on the supertonic, dominant, and leading tone scale degrees. Let's look at the C major scale. As I mentioned, the 7th chords are usually constructed on the supertonic, dominant, and the leading tone. So on the supertonic, we add that 4th note, which in this case will have a D minor 7th chord. The dominant will get us the dominant 7th chord after adding the 4th pitch on top of the regular triad. The leading tone will get us a half diminished chord when adding the 4th note on top of the regular triad. The harmonic minor scale works the same way, but would get us different chords. On the supertonic, the added 4th pitch would get us a half diminished chord. On the dominant, we'd get the dominant 7th chord. And on the leading tone, we would get the fully diminished chord. And just like triads, 7th chords can be inverted. When the dominant 7th is in a root position, it would be called a big Roman numeral 5 with a 7 next to it. Minor 7th chord would be called a small numeral 2 with a 7 next to it, and so on. On the first inversion, you'll replace the 7 with a 5 with a 6 on top, because just like the triads, the distances from the root to the other pitches changed. On the second inversion, you'll have a 3 and a 4 on top of it. And on the third inversion, you'll have a 2 instead of the 7. A good way to remember the inversions is to count down from 7. Root position has a 7, then 6 and 5 for the first inversion, 4 and 3 for the second inversion, and then 2 for the third inversion. And again, just like the triads, the quality of the 7th chords isn't affected by inverting. The 7th chords are strongly used for their unstable nature, because then a huge drive is created to harmonically go towards the resolution, basically going back to the tonic. The strongest drive comes from the dominant chord. It compels the arrival of the implied tonic chord. Another example is the leading tone 7th, whether it's a half diminished or a fully diminished chord, also have a strong tendency to resolve to the tonic. The supertonic 7th in both the major and minor keys seem to lead to the dominant chord for its resolution. This harmonic push is not as strong as the push to the tonic created by the dominant 7th or by the leading tone 7th, but it's compelling nonetheless. They were basically mostly used to create musical passages. That would be all on the 7th chords. Exercises are available on this topic. Enjoy solving them and see you in the next lecture.